Greetings. I'm Martin Crabtree from Mercer County Community College Library. I'd like to talk a little bit about formatting your references page in APA style. Once you've gathered your APA formatted citations, like from a database or something like that, you'll need to format the entire page correctly. Again, to save time, you only really need to do this once. Put all the citations on the page. If they're not quite set up properly, that's okay. You can format all of the citations all in one shot, which will save some time. In an APA formatted references page, the word references goes at the top of the page. This single word is in bold. It is not underlined. It is not in a larger font style. It's not italicized, just one straight word, references, in bold. For each of the individual citations in your references page, they need to have a hanging indentation. First line moved all the way to the left, subsequent lines pushed in a little bit. They need to be in alphabetical order. And hyperlinks, though not required by APA, can be included and are kind of encouraged. If, however, you have a scholarly journal article, either from a database, a website, or even from the physical page, if they include a DOI type URL, DOI, Document Object Indicator, that must be included when it's available. And these hyperlinks should be live links. So the blue, the underline, things like that. The entire page needs to have double line spacing, and you need to have the same font style, same font size throughout the entire page, which should match the rest of the document this references page is tied to. So let's take a look in Microsoft Word at a references page, and we'll get it formatted here. As I said before, it can be done very quickly once you kind of know some of the ways to do it. What we have on the screen right now is a page I started putting together. This is information I had gotten out of our databases. I kind of dump things in, and you may have kind of a bit of a mess like this to begin with. So first thing we're going to do, and a lot of the work is going to be done in the home toolbar up here, particularly right here in the paragraph section of the home toolbar. That's where most of the work will be done. Some of the font things will also include it. For the word references, we'll just highlight all the word letters in the word references. The B here for bold, we'll click that and make that bold. While we have that highlighted, we'll center it right here. Use the centering icon. Don't space it over and use the tab to try to eyeball it, because it may not ultimately work for you. If you change the lettering size, add some words, it will no longer be centered. This will purposely keep it in the middle of the page no matter what. So we'll click centering right here, put it in the center of the page. As I said before, you can do this for one or all the citations. It's easiest to do them for a whole bunch at the same time. Saves you some time than doing it each time you enter one onto the page. So I'm going to highlight all of my citations. And from here, off of the paragraph toolbar, there's this little drop down here, this little box with an arrow pointing down. If I click on that, it brings up this page here. Now, what appears as a default when you use it may be a little bit different, but we're going to set it up the same way. Firstly, we want the indentation, this section right here, left and right set to 0. We want to go all the way out to the margin edges, but we want what's called a special indentation. From the drop down here, we'll select hanging, that hanging indentation. It defaults to 1/2 inch. That's fine. We'll leave that alone. On the spacing, we'll set up the double line spacing here. Before and after should be set to 0. And we don't want multiple. We want double line spacing. And when I'm doing this for myself personally, it's real quick. 4 zeros down the left-hand side, the word hanging, the word double. Click on OK, and it formats things for us. While I have the citations highlighted, I need to put it in alphabetical order. Currently, we're not in alphabetical order. And that's done with the sort button right here, the A to Z with the arrow pointed down. If I click on that, it brings up this window here. I'm going to sort by paragraph. Word thinks of each individual citation as a separate paragraph, and we're sorting it by text. Word will allow me to put it in numeric order, date order, things like that. I want it kind of ABC order. It's ascending from A to Z, not in reverse order, Z to A. So paragraph, text ascending. Click on OK. And now it's rearranged our citations so that everything is in alphabetical order. A couple of the citations, when I drop them in, the URL turned on live for me. It turned blue and underlined. This one here did not. If it's not a live link, the easiest way to do that, if you go to the end of the URL, put in a space, it turns on the link, so it's a live link. Last thing I need to do is make this all the same font style, same font size. Currently, it is not, so I'm going to highlight everything, including the word references. And up here again in font style, I use the drop down here, and we'll go down, say, to Times New Roman, a very commonly used font style for papers and such. And I'm going to make it 12 point, probably the most commonly used font size. And now I have a properly formatted references page in APA style. I want to point out one thing here at the bottom, this last article by Shirley. There's a big gap right here in the second line. If you run into that, that's okay. The way word processing programs operate, if there's a new component to the citation, in this case, the URL is the next thing showing up. It's a very long URL, as you can see, it takes up almost 2 lines. Because it will not fit on this line, Word automatically drops it down and starts it on a new line to kind of call out this is a new element and such. You'll notice even the first one here also has a bit of a gap. It's not quite as noticeable, but if you should run into a gap like that, it's not anything to be worrying about. Now it's your turn to use our library, format your references page and everything else. The library's here to help you. All you got to do is ask. You can chat at our homepage during our open library hours. You can call us. You can email us at library@mccc.edu, and the library@mccc.edu email address is pretty much good round the clock. Thanks for listening. Good luck with your references page.